अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरि ओम्। ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ओम नमो भगवते श्री रामकृष्णाय। Welcome to this Tuesday class where we shall try to explore the 4 yogas. Actually, on every Tuesday, my brother monk Swami Puranic ji takes scriptural class that is on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. For about 3 weeks, he has gone to India on a pilgrimage, and hence I have come here to fill in that gap. I thought, since audience is already knowing the chapter by chapter discussion of the Gita, I thought I will take up the 4 yogas specifically and see how the 4 yogas can be understood in the light of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. One thing we find in the humanity is search for knowledge. This curiosity to know you can see even in a child. Child asks and questions. By putting the questions, a child may look to be disobedient. No, actually the child wants to know what it is. So the thirst for knowing more and more is there with all the humans. And we have been thinking about that, how wonderful it is that each human starts thinking at different ages. Some may start thinking at a very childhood age, some may start at the adulthood, and some may start even after 60 years. They start thinking about certain things that they want to know more. So, if you see that by questioning what is existing, we unravel many mysteries of the nature. In that way, the nature's subjects, if you say, have been classified into 10. If you go to any big library, and if they follow the Dewey Decimal System, you can see that how the Mr. Dewey, the scientist on library, has done all the subjects under the world. He has classified into 10 groups. And under each group, there are sub-classifications are there. So we find the knowledge is increasing and increasing, and new groups are added among the major 10 groups. So there was a time in ancient India when the sages and their disciples were discussing about the ultimate object of our birth and the ultimate destination that where we should reach. These questions were discussed, and they were inquiring what happens to the human soul after the body falls down. Is there any human soul at all? What is behind all this universe? Etc., etc. And the question came up, by knowing what? That everything in the world can be known. This is the greatest question. We find in the Upanishadic time that people are inquiring that by knowing which all can be known. So what is that which? So the inquiry started moving in the right direction, And they started asking more and more. And if you knock, the door will open, as Jesus says. Swami Vivekananda says, if you ask, the answer will come to you. That's how we find the Gita, the wonderful literature that is included in the great epic Mahabharata, has come to us. People study Bhagavad Gita from many views. That is, a view can be taken that I am devotee of Sri Krishna, so whatever Krishna has expounded, that is a great thing for me. It's very holy and auspicious for me, so I will read Gita. So the devotees of Sri Krishna would approach Gita with a devotional mind, and they would read every day one chapter. You find that type of people are there. But there are others also who would like to read Gita. But what it contains? It was spoken in a battlefield. So people are curious how in a battlefield where the two sides of the armies are standing against each other, Krishna starts speaking about some philosophy. What could be that philosophy? Then some people approach Gita from the practical point of view. Is there anything worth learning or worth having or useful to my practical life? I am a merchant, for instance. I am a doctor. I am a teacher. I have got like that, various professions are there. In each of these professions, is Gita has got any use? Is it usable? Or it is only to be kept covered with a red color cloth in the puja room and put one flower every day? Is that enough? So such questions are coming in the minds of the different people, and people approach. So one of the questions that comes in the minds of most of the people is that we are religious, we are devoted to some supreme entity whom in English we call God or we call Ishvara, and that God, who is he and what is the level of understanding about God? So for that I must tell you briefly how the Vedanta describes the godly levels. That means when the English word actually God, God, is a very wonderful word, and it has got lots of connotations, though in our practical life we find. But if you approach that word through the eyes of Vedanta, then you find that particular word is inadequate in expressing some of the levels of God's existence. For instance, I tell you, in Vedanta, the highest supreme is called Brahman. Brahman is the word, comes from the root brah, means to expand. So that which expands and expands and expands and is ever expanding, that is Brahman. That means it is infinite, limitless. So this infinity, which is called Brahman, has no form, has got no qualities. It is absolutely what it is, cannot be explained. There are many sages who have, by dint of the sadhanas, have realized Brahman, but could not explain it. It is impossible to explain Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna brings out beautifully, he says that if at all there only one thing that is not juta, that is not defiled by the mouth, and that is Brahman, he says. Why? Because everything can be explained in this world. That means the mouth can speak about that. But only Brahman cannot be explained. So it cannot be defiled by the words. So he says that Brahman cannot be understood by the limited mind. Now if it cannot be understood and it can be only realized in sadhana, and it cannot be expressed to make others understand, there is a state of God which is called Brahman, Nirakara, Nirguna Brahman. So if you say in English, it is Nirakara means there is no form, formless. Nirguna means there is no quality also. There is one entity which is filling the entire space, entire universe, and it has got no form and it has got no quality. And that is Nirakara Nirguna Brahman. Now the next stage down below is Sakara Saguna Brahman. That means the same Brahman has got form. The same Brahman is understood to have qualities. So with this form and qualities, there is a level of Brahman, a level of God. As I said earlier, in English, only one word is used, God. But in Vedanta, actually, in Sanskrit, they have formed many terminologies for different levels. So one is this Nirguna Nirakara Brahman. Another is Saguna Sakara Brahman. But in between, there is a Nirguna Nirakara Saguna Brahman is there. Likewise, Sakara Nirguna Brahman is there. So that combination also is there. Because these are all the realization, how we know like this Brahman is like this existing. It is because of the realization of the sages. Some sages have gone and realized the Nirguna Nirakara Brahman. Some sages have realized, they say, no, I don't believe in forms, but I am very clear that Brahman has got certain qualities. Likewise, they say. So, according to the experience of the sages, we are now explaining. And then down below this comes the Ishvara. This Ishvara is a very strange concept because it has got, the Ishvara has got three types of functions. One is creation, another is sustenance, and the third is dissolution. Creation, sustenance, dissolutions, all the three functions are done by one entity which is called Ishvara. This Ishvara is Nirakara, has got no form, but he has got plenty of qualities. Because he is able to function, when Brahman starts functioning, it acquires qualities. So the qualities have come. So he knows that, or this Ishvara knows how to construct this universe. What are the jivas will be here? He decides. So he is somewhat like a cosmic aspect of the individual things in this universe. This goes on. So if the individual parts of this universe or the Ishvara are infinite, then the whole also is infinite. Now, the question comes here, this Ishvara, if it is one entity, is very difficult to even mentally understand the concept. All the three functions are done by one entity. Come in. How could it be? So can we not make some of the people understand this? So here comes the philosophical aspect that we saw, discussed in the Upanishads. The Upanishads, there is another sort of literature in the religious literature that is called Puranas. They come to our rescue. They give us some type of hints to understand the concept that is spoken in the Upanishads. For instance, that one entity is creating, sustaining and dissolving this entire universe. If you say that, it's difficult to understand for many. So the Puranas, how do they come to help us? The Puranas say, you separate that entity according to its functions. Very good. How do you say that? Say a lady. She is by profession an advocate. So when she is taking her case in the court, she has got that black gown and the black tie. She is in a different dress. Because she is an advocate. When the same lady comes to home, she goes to the kitchen and cooks for her husband and children. She doesn't wear that black suit. She is a household dress she puts on, which is easy for her to cook and take care of the children. But when she takes classes for some students, she goes to a law college and teaches also. There she doesn't look like an advocate, neither she puts on the dress that is used for cooking in the home. She is a teacher's dress there. Now you see, 3 types of dresses are put by one person. If that is possible in a mundane life that we see, why not for the infinite God, which is not possible? So we don't think that it is not possible. So to understand that, now these 3 individuals, this lady can assume 3 different identities according to her function. That is what Puranas do. They say the creative aspect of the Brahman is called Brahma. There is a difference between Brahman and Brahma. Brahma is that identity which refers to that deity or the God who creates this universe. Or the Brahman's creative aspect is called Brahma. Now there is another aspect, sustenance. The world is created, okay. After the creation they have to be kept for some time. So that sustenance aspect comes in the form of Vishnu. Likewise, the dissolution, finally it dissolves, everything is dissolved. That aspect comes in the form of Lord Shiva. So now Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, according to Puranas, are having 3 different individual significance and entities. But Vedanta considers all these 3 are one aspect only. Now that Ishvara becomes Brahma, Ishvara becomes Vishnu, Ishvara becomes Shiva. In our mind we are imagining, we are thinking that because of the different functions, these different names are given now. Now, are they all imaginary? Or are there saints who have seen Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva? Yes. There are plenty of Puranic proofs that say that there are many asuras, even asuras who have done long austerities. They have seen Brahma and Brahma coming to them and giving the boons. We read in the Puranas. Likewise, Vishnu also appears before many of the people. Likewise, Shiva is also appearing. So these 3 in individual aspect, when they come according to their understanding, that is their devotees' understanding, they take the form. So consistently we see the devotees of Vishnu has been thinking of Vishnu in a particular type. That Vishnu's Rupa, Vishnu's form is like this. He has got so many hands and he is keeping certain things in his hands. Likewise, and with every deity, it comes like that. Now, these people are also called gods. Ishvara also is called God in English. And Saguna Sakara Brahman also is called God. And Nirguna Nirakara, which is the highest Brahman, is also called God in English. Now, for all these levels, we use the English word God, which creates confusion. Because when Lord Vishnu takes further forms down below his majestic Vishnu form, then he comes down as an avatar. At that time, he is called Bhagavan. And when he takes any form he can take any form, a tortoise form also he can take half lion, half man form also he can take, and he takes human form also. So when the human forms comes, and they are known as Bhagavan as well as Avatara Purushas, avatars. Descendant. That means that Vishnu descending from his status. He is in a high status. From that status, he is coming down, as it were, on the steps. And then he comes down and stands at the last down steps in the form of, say, Sri Ramachandra or Sri Krishna. They are also called God. So when you write in English, we use God. That's why, while reading some of the translated books, the confusion comes. Some people ask me, Swamiji, in one place Ramakrishna says, God cannot be understood by words. In another place Ramakrishna says, God can be realized, God can be seen. Is this not contradictory to each other? Why it appears as contradictory to us? Because in both the places the word God is used. But when you read the original, where he says Bhagavan, Bhagavan can be seen, but Brahman cannot be seen. So when you read that, then it clarifies. It is very clear. But the Bhagavan also is translated as God, and Brahman also is translated as God, with the result that one place God can be seen, in another place God cannot be seen. So that problem is there when you use the only one word, God, for all levels of God. Now this God can be, or the Bhagavan can be, Ishvara can be realized. There are people who realize this God in their own way. But if you see, is there any particular path? If you ask, then every guru that he talks to his disciple, he gives one particular path. And if you say any number of gurus are there who have realized God and who have told their disciples about the way to God, and if you classify all those ways, it is possible to put under 4 types of categories. Any path, not only within the Vedic Hinduism, but also beyond the Hinduism. You take the other religions like Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, and Jainism, and whatnot, whatever name. Even the tribal religions, if you take. All these are all, if you consider as a method or an approach towards God, then that can be brought under these 4 broad categories. These categories are known as yoga. So there are 4 categories are there. The one is Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga. So you find the 4 yogas. You take any method, an approach to God, then you can find out within these 4 you can safely place them. Now, my subject is the 4 yogas according to Bhagavad Gita. I'm not going to finish in 1 hour talk everything. We'll go slowly and go one by one. So, these 4 yogas, are they talked by Sri Krishna? Because some people raise this funny question. Gita has got 18 chapters. Each chapter is designated by Vyasa as a yoga. So are there not 18 yogas? How can you say there are 4 yogas? So this requires some clarification. Yoga means, it comes from the Sanskrit root word called yuj, to join. So, to join means there must be two objects. Then only it can be joined. If there is only one object, there is nothing to join. So the yoga word signifies to join means what are they? The two objects that are going to be joined. So there we come to know that one is Jivatma, that is the individual soul as it is translated in English, and there is what is called Paramatma, the supreme soul. Param means supreme. So supreme soul and the individual soul are to be united, have to become one. Now this is also a yoga, because yoga means the union. So the union of the individual soul to the highest Param soul. If that is true, and that is what some Patanjali Rishi has described. And he describes various forms of yoga within that Raja Yoga as it is called, because it's the king of yogas. The Raja Yoga is called king of yogas due to all the aspects, karma, bhakti, jnana, are all types of these three yogas have got one backbone, and that backbone is Raja Yoga. So the elements of Raja Yoga are there in any of these other three yogas. Since it is available in the other three, so this is considered as the supreme. And Raja means kingly. So it is a kingly yoga. Now we find, so this union I was telling to you, this yoga, 18 chapters yoga, is called yoga because each chapter gives us a path. Even though each chapter gives a particular path and we can take it as valid for our sadhana, our great rishis, our great commentators like Shankaracharya down to Swami Vivekananda, we see that they have considered and compiled all these 18 margas or the ways into broadly 4 yogas. So the 4 yogas have been accepted as a normal way of looking at Gita. And Swami Vivekananda proudly says in one place that it was for the first time that Bhagavan Sri Krishna harmonized the 4 yogas, he says. So this harmonization of 4 yogas was not prevalent very widely before Sri Krishna. Yes, there were people who used to do tapasya, and very kator tapasya, that means very strict and severe penance. And they will go to either Himalayas or to the jungles, forests, and they sit there. Even in Christianity in this country, in Ireland, we read about many saints who have been practicing such austerities, extreme austerities. There is a place very near here in Dublin called Glendalough. If you go to Glendalough, it is famous as a place of pilgrimage for Christians because one saint lived there and died there. And the saint name was Saint Kevin. Saint Kevin, in this cold climate, he had no proper place to stay. So he took one of the caves on the mountains and he did penances. It was a great severe austerity that he used to perform. And he used to take bath in that lakes. 2 lakes are there, very, very cold water. In that he used to take bath. Such austerities he did, people started learning about this. Somehow they came to know and they started coming. And a very big community was created there. Seeing him as an object, as a leader to follow, there are many young men from the society went and followed him and became his disciples. And they all lived a very, very austere life. So, this life of austerity, likewise in India also we find many sages went for austerity. We hear about Rishi Vishwamitra. He used to do severe austerity penances in order to realize what he wanted. And such stories are abound in our Puranas. There are many, many rishis and munis. They used to do austerities. And there are many who used to go into forest and discuss. They were highly intelligent. They knew what they are talking about. And they are questioning what is what. And such people are also there. And there were others who were not at all interested in austerities, neither in inquiring about Brahman. Rather, they had a personal God. And they thought, being with the personal God, nearest to my personal God, is enough in the life. And that is mukti for me. To stay with the God, to look at Him, to see His face and be with Him, that is enough. And this bhakti movement was there. So you find another, not at all interested in what God is, but since God has created this universe is pervaded by God, let me do my service to all the beings in the world. Like that there were many people. There was one Shibi Chakravarti. It's a beautiful story of a king. He was a king. Every day he comes and does his puja, the morning hours, and he sat like that. At that time, one dove came and fell on his lap. He took the dove, and the dove was shivering, not because of cold, it because of fear. Then he slowly fondled that dove and said, "Hey dove, what has happened? Why you are afraid? What is happening to you?" Then the dove said, "O king, I have come to take refuge at your feet. Please save me from the danger." "What is your danger?" "See behind who is coming." And there Shibi saw a huge eagle has come, a falcon. Falcon has come. And falcon is looking at the king. "What is that? Why you are keeping him? Leave him." It is asking the king. King says, "I cannot leave it. It has come as a refuge to me, and as a king I have to protect this bird." Then the falcon says, "If you are king to this bird, are you not king of me also? Don't you have the duty to protect me also? What is your problem?" "My problem is, today morning I got this dove as my food. And the food is missing from me. I need to eat today. And for that eating, I got this dove. That is the nature the God has made like that. So I have to eat that. So you have to release that dove to me for my eating. Otherwise I go without food. Is that proper for the king? Are you not my king also?" So Shibi was put into dilemma. Now what do you do? The bird, the falcon also to be satisfied, and this dove also to be protected. So he found out a very beautiful solution. He said, "Look, hey falcon, yes, you are to eat, okay, you want flesh. Is it not? Not that this dove's flesh, but much, much superior to this dove. A human flesh if I give you, will you be satisfied?" The falcon said, "Okay, no problem. I need food, that's all. Whether it is dove's flesh or human flesh, it doesn't matter. So you give me, you supply me, but on one condition. The condition is that flesh should equal this dove's flesh." whatever weight it has got, that much weight you must give me. If it weighs 2 kgs, you must give me 2 kgs of human flesh. Well, it's nothing, because it's a small dove. So he brought that taraju, that weighing machine, and put one side the bird. And to the great surprise of all, even the devatas, they all came there. Devatas were looking at what Shibi is going to do. To their great astonishment, he removed the dhoti from his thigh and he cut the flesh and put it on the other plate of that weighing machine. Maybe quarter kg, half kg. Supposing that a dove was a 2 kg. Just imagine that plate was never getting equalized. He has taken almost all the flesh of his body. Only the skeleton was there and the heart place was there. Everything was cut. And there he stands. And it was not equalizing. Then he said, I am now taking out my heart also. At that time, this dove and the falcon changed into devatas. And they said, O king, we only tested you. We never could imagine a person can go to that extent to save his countrymen. It is a wonderful sacrifice that you do. So they gave him back the much better body that he had. So here we see these type of people were there who wanted to do service to others. In that, even if their body is taken out, it doesn't matter. Here there is no, as per you find bhakti or karma or jnana, etc. This is purely a sacrifice. This is karma yogis. Karma yogis do like this. So you find that in Krishna's time, so as per Swamiji, it was the first time that this harmonizing these 4 yogas or the 4 major paths, 4 marga, we call it, so paths, the 4 major roads are harmonized so beautifully in Bhagavad Gita. That's why when we take up the 4 yogas, a study of 4 yogas, Bhagavad Gita is very essential. There were other scriptures that came up later than Bhagavad Gita, and those places, those scriptures always speak about harmonizing. It's because of Krishna's influence. The thought that Krishna has introduced in Bhagavad Gita, that all the 4 can be harmoniously practiced, was taken and established. In between, some years passed where we have forgotten that. The humanity was about to lose that. At that juncture, Sri Ramakrishna came. And he practiced all the 4 yogas. And he validated what Krishna has done 5,000 years back. So now we understand. Sri Vivekananda says that if you want to fashion your personality in the mold of Sri Ramakrishna, then you must do harmoniously blend the 4 yogas within your personality. This is a very beautiful statement of Swamiji. Swamiji gives us, advises that all these 4 were harmoniously blended by Sri Ramakrishna in his period. So if you want to mold our life as per Ramakrishna, then in our personality also we must blend all these 4. Of course, one yoga itself is enough for one to take one to mukti or moksha. It doesn't matter that you need to combine these 3. But he says, if you want to mold your personality in the mold of Ramakrishna, then of course all the 4 yogas must be put together, harmoniously blend. That is the word he uses. So we find how these 4 yogas, we shall see the importance of each yoga independently as well as the harmoniously. But before that I should say that, see, since Swamiji wanted the monks that are coming to him under the banner of Ramakrishna order, he wanted every monk should be having these 4 elements harmoniously blend. This advice has been taught to us by our gurus also. They said, don't be ever one-sided. They would tell us. Our gurus would tell us, don't be ever one-sided. No, take all the 4 sides and develop your personality as an all-round personality. In that way you should develop. That is how we are all taught in our trainings at a time. And now we see this 4 yogas psychological basis. If you just, I will take a few minutes for that, is to understand every human being has got a particular temperament. Even in one house, if 4 children are there, we find 4 children are maybe looking alike. That is possible. That brother and brother look alike, that we have seen that. But the nature of that personality is different. So 4 boys staying in one house, born to the same parents, 4 different temperaments they have. So what are the temperaments? So one of the temperament is acute intellectual. This intellectual type, we find there are many people, hundreds of people we can see in the world around us. There are highly intellectual people. They crisscross, they put questions and they analyze and they bring out everything. The modern IT, I should say, is like that. It analyzes each portion of the work into parts, and part by part it moves on. Once we, in Seva Pratishthan when I was there, we started computerization of our hospital management systems. So at that time, the computer specialists who came and they would study each portion of our activity. The IT fellows, they will go and sit in the cashier's counter. They will go into the accountant's table, and they will go to the admission office. They will go to the patient's record office. Like that, everywhere they will go and write down. A flow chart is made, and through the flow chart, they would part by part, they will dissecate every part, and then only they will prepare the software. So that requires extreme intellectual capability. Everybody cannot do it. There are some other people who are highly emotional. These emotional people cannot be, you cannot convince them with arguments. An intellectual man can be convinced with arguments. You give some arguments, his understanding okay. But an emotional person will never. For him, if you have to give any convincing answer, that answer also must come through an emotional approach in you. Otherwise, you can't ignore him. Likewise, there are people who are workaholic. They work and work and work. They don't mind anything. At even the midnight, they can get up and do work. There are some people, they are not highly intellectual. Neither they have, their emotion side is very weak. But you tell them to work, they will work. And there are some people who take delight in sitting and closing their eyes and meditating. They are interested in analyzing their own mind, not the other's mind. Their own mind they are ready to analyze. And for that they are ready to spend time, any number of minutes. They don't have any problem. I will tell you one example. In the ashrams, in our ashrams, I had been to South Africa and Singapore, and now here, and in Indian centers also, I have seen. There are certain, you can actually see among the devotees, these 4 types of devotees coming together. So I used to say that the puja is happening. Puja is there, bhajans are going on. There are people who come at that time, 10 to 12 puja and bhajans. It is written in the program. And you find they come 5 minutes before 10 o'clock. And they sit there and they enjoy the bhajan, clap their hands, and they, according to the tune of the songs, they have the dancing styles, and they are very happy with that. And the puja mantras are being chanted. They are very happy. And you find another group of devotees who come straight away after keeping their bags in the room. They straight away go to see what can be done. All these people sitting in the temple at 12 o'clock when the puja is over, they will come for the lunch prasad. Who is going to make that? These people are there, washing the utensils, keeping it clean, and cooking, and putting it in hot plates. Everything they are doing, they are not at all in the puja. Though that is a special Ramakrishna's puja day, which everyone is supposed to come to the puja. But no, they are there busy. It is not that they dislike puja, but they prefer to do that work rather than coming in the shrine and seeing the puja. And there are some people I have seen. The puja is over, people have got up and they have gone for just relaxing before the lunch prasad. At that time, the temple is having, say, 1 or 2 people are there, that's all. A few people come at that time quietly and sit in the corner of the hall and do meditation. They are not interested in puja. Neither you can ask them to go and wash the vessels. No, they can't do it. They don't come for that. They say, today is an important day, it's a holy auspicious day, so I must meditate. I must think of the Lord today. So they come and quietly sit. And where there is no crowd, there is no that hullabulla of the crowd. So there they sit and quietly do that. The people who sat for the puja and bhajans, etc., they are having emotional temperament. The people who go and work, they have that working element is there, that working temperament they have. The work, action-oriented people. And the people who come and meditate and they want to analyze their mind, they are meditative temperaments. And there is another temperament which is I left. One is action-oriented is karma, singing bhajans is bhakti, and dhyana, that is Raja Yoga. Now, in between the portion of the puja time, we have lectures, we have talks arranged. Some people will come only to listen to the talks. Once the talk is over, they get up and go away. They don't care for prasad, etc. It's all right, prasad is okay, but I want to listen to the talk, I want ideas. They are intellectual type. So Swami Vivekananda says, every individual born in this universe has got all these 4 temperaments inherent in him or her. What he adds is, but one of these temperament might be very predominant in that person. So a person who enjoys bhajan singing also would like to hear some ideas. But the bhajan singing, the attachment to the bhajan singing, or what you call the interest in the bhajan singing, is so much is that is predominant in him. So wherever bhajans are there, they will go. Here also there are bhajan groups in Dublin. The group joins only for doing bhajans. And there are groups who do only meditations. And there are groups who only discuss ideas. So there are groups already. So there may be one predominant element in you out of these four elements that defines outwardly your personality. So among the four yogas, karma, jnana, bhakti and dhyana, among the four yogas, which yoga is suitable to me? People come and ask us. They say, Maharaj, I want to know. I am equally interested in all the four yogas because I take delight in listening to music, I take delight in seeing the puja, and if you give me service, I am ready to do it. I have no problem. I take delight in that also. And I take delight in sitting and doing japa and meditation. And I take delight in listening to your words also. But I do not know which yoga is predominant, which temperament is predominant in me. I say, no one from outside can tell you. But you have to decide yourself. Find out, go and search within yourself which temperament is coming out predominantly within you. By your actions, I can presume that you are that type, predominantly that type. I can presume. But my presumption may be wrong also. It is for you to find out yourself which element is predominant. So in that way, what is the use of knowing these four yogas independently? Because if I know my predominant element within my personality, suppose that is intellectual, jnana, I am aspiring for more and more knowledge, jnana, then jnana yoga is well fit for my spiritual sadhana. So, knowing a person who is emotionally predominant, and if you give him a path of, say, intellectual, that will not help him. So that person will fail. And he say, I am doing japa for 30 years, Maharaj, nothing has happened. Why nothing has happened? Have you seen what type of yoga that you should have followed? Did you combine all the four yogas in your personality harmoniously? Or you are making only one-sided way that you are moving? Then what will happen to the other three sides? If I am highly intellectual, I become a dry intellectual. Then I lose all my emotions. I am looking at, sitting here, somebody just trips and falls down. Immediately I should get up and say, oh, you have fallen, let me help you. That emotion is there or not? I am just sitting there looking at it. Or sometimes smiling also. If somebody falls down, some people smile. You just smile. So that emotion is lost. Seeing television, and suddenly the television shows a news item of a railway accident and 25 people are dead. And the dead bodies are being brought out from the debris. And you are sitting in your comfortable sofa in your home with an ice cream in your hand. You are able to continue to eat ice cream when you see that 25 people are dead. You may say that it's only picture. That means your emotion is not awakened yet. So you have become a dry intellectual. You will only question. So whether government has taken action or not, who is the culprit, whether the driver has to be punished or not, all these things you are discussing. When the accident scene you are seeing, instead of telling, oh, how many people are dead? How can I enjoy this ice cream now? That empathy to the suffering people, how can I help them? Can I send some contribution to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund? Like that are you thinking? That emotion has been not there. Then that only intellectual. Like that, in each path, that person may become one-sided. Danger is there. So if you become one-sided, the danger comes to you, then your personality is not well-rounded personality. So Vivekananda says, for getting a speedier and quicker progress in spiritual life, a harmonious blend of 4 yogas are necessary. So this is an introduction about the 4 yogas as per Bhagavad Gita. We shall proceed on next Tuesday also. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna